Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans is the best film the director has delivered since the last movie he did 6 months ago.
What was your favorite part?
Hey guys, it's Sean O'Connell, the managing editor at CinemaBlend, still in Toronto covering the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival, bringing you reviews from the movies that we have loved and a few of the ones that we've had some issues with. But that is not the case with The Fabelmans, the new film from Steven Spielberg, which had its world premiere at the Princess of Wales Theatre here in downtown Toronto. It was a big night at the Princess of Wales. Spielberg talking about this being the very first film of his to play in contention at a film festival. He's been to Cannes and South by Southwest, has never come through TIFF before. This is the first time he brought a film up here, and he waited until he had a deeply personal and incredibly emotional drama that he could share with the TIFF audiences. I'm going to explain to you why this is one of the best films that we've seen up here, as well as one of Spielberg's instant masterpieces for a number of different reasons. But before we do that, of course, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, keep up to date with everything we are doing here at CinemaBlend.
What kind of movie are we gonna make?
If you know nothing about The Fabelmans, it's essentially an autobiographical memoir that Steven Spielberg is telling about his childhood. And so for that reason, the story is completely immersed in his love of film and film culture. It's about a young boy named Sammy Fabelman who, because his family brings him to go see Cecil B. DeMille's The Greatest Show on Earth at a very young age, he comes to realize how wonderful film can be and how it can unlock new doors to his imagination and open up these pathways for him to become a storyteller by using film and through the art of filmmaking. And if you know anything about Spielberg at all, he grew up making these short films as a teenager with his best friends, recruiting his family members, recruiting his friends, and all of this is captured throughout the course of The Fabelmans. We really get into the director's complete passion for the actual film reels, 8mm, 16mm, being able to cut and edit on them, being able to experiment on film to create, like when he's shooting these Westerns in his backyard in Phoenix, Arizona, coming up with unique ways to, on a budget, figure out ways to create practical effects that the director still to this day uses. In fact, during a Q&A following the world premiere, he talked about how much he loved, just for the purpose of The Fabelmans, being able to go back and recreate a lot of his 8mm films as a teenager and make them better. And he thought that was a little bit of a time capsule element to that. You don't have to be a film geek to really appreciate everything that Spielberg is covering in The Fabelmans. It will essentially convey to you why film is so important to him as a storyteller and how much he really enjoys the mystery that comes with what you shot and how you can manipulate footage to show people in different lights, whether it be positive or negative, and also really hard truths that film might capture. There are some complicated things going on in the Fabelmans' home life that I'll discuss in the next section that young Sammy is able to visualize through his lens and onto the film that he's constantly running as he records the family's options. That passion that Spielberg has for storytelling, that hunger that he has for getting images onto film is palpable throughout The Fabelmans. And because you know he's one of our greatest directors, finding out how he got to that point and the things that opened up the doors to all of that imagination and that storytelling make The Fabelmans incredibly compelling.
Sammy?
So a lot of films come to Toronto in order to launch their awards campaign, and The Fabelmans will be no different. But specifically, I want to point out Michelle Williams, who has just entered the awards conversation. Now, Michelle Williams is normally fantastic in everything that she does, but when you hand her material like this, she knows how to sink her teeth into it and really excel. She plays Mitzi Fabelman, who is young Sammy's mother and the heart of the Fabelman family. But there's a lot of discussion in The Fabelmans about how in a given family there's a divide between those who are artistic and those who are a little bit more science-minded, business-minded, and that's where Paul Dano's character and Sammy's father would fall. And it's how that dynamic almost keeps the family together through difficult times, but also tears them apart because the artists of which Sammy and of course Steven Spielberg feel that they belong to that side of the community, how they have to pursue different things, sometimes to the sacrifice and detriment of the family unit in order to achieve the goal of the art that they want to get. And Michelle Williams' character, Mitzi, is a one-time classical piano player and dancer who has to put that life on hold in order to run the Fabelman family. And there are other complications that are awaiting Mitzi that the film doesn't mind exploring. Even though it's about Steven Spielberg's early life, it embraces the warts and everything that comes with the complications that built him into the artist that he is. And the role is just so fantastic for Michelle Williams to be able to display the complete range of emotions that she is able to capture. Your heart goes out to this woman for the complications that she's going through. Your heart goes out to Sammy because of the ways that he wants to help his mom, but yet can't quite understand everything that she's going through. And all of this is rooted in true memories that Steven Spielberg went through and wanted to commit to this sort of visual memoir. Michelle Williams gets an incredible part, and she literally knocks it out of the park.
Family, art, it'll tear you in two.
I want to warn everybody that The Fabelmans truly is unlike anything that Steven Spielberg has done up until this point. Because it's a memoir, it captures a number of important segments of his early life, building all the way up through probably his early 20s. And so at 2.5 hours, the film might feel a little bit long. Also because there are a couple of subplots that it detours down as it gets into some of the other side characters that as you're watching them, you may be wondering, like, how do these factor into the main narrative? But every single time, thanks to both Spielberg's incredible direction and a terrific screenplay by Tony Kushner, those sidebars do eventually circle back around to the main narrative, and you realize that you did have to sort of watch them in order to get the biggest picture filled in for all of these characters and the main narrative that Spielberg's trying to get together. So by the end of it, I really did understand all of the pieces that are coming together for this puzzle, and I finally clicked into place that this is a masterful work of art by Steven Spielberg that goes to really complicated places that I'm surprised he wanted to explore, but I understand why he wanted them captured on film.
I don't know what to do anymore.
You do what your heart says you have to.
For that reason, I'm giving The Fabelmans a 5 stars out of 5. Just completely blew me away as, again, a different exercise than what we might have saw for West Side Story, which was the skillful director kind of showing off all the tools in his bag. But with Fabelmans, it's an artist who's literally bearing his heart to his audience and saying, these are the steps along my journey that turned me into the storyteller that I am to this day. And I truly think that it's an honor that we have this movie now to basically go over and recognize how great Spielberg is and the things that made him great along the way. I can't imagine seeing something better than The Fabelmans at Toronto, but we're going to continue to go to films and deliver you guys reviews here from the ground at TIFF. So make sure you hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. And that way, when our next video drops, you guys will be the first ones to hear about it.